Good morning students, I welcome you all for the online class of business studies. Today we will be going to continue with the topic international business. In today's class I will be going to start the export procedure as the basic introduction part I completed in my last videos. Today I will be going with the export procedures. Let us proceed with the export procedure students. First of all, what do you mean by export? Once again, the meaning of export. Export means when our country is having surplus of goods and it is enough for sale in the foreign countries also, then that surplus goods which is demanded in foreign countries also exported from our country to that country. Or you can say when the foreign countries purchase the goods from our country, it is known as export. Exporting and importing are two terms. Export refers to sending of goods and services from the home country to a foreign country, and importing means buying goods and services from a foreign country. The exporting and importing can be done in two ways, direct or indirect. Direct means firms itself approaches in foreign countries and completes all the formalities itself. On the other hand, when a firm employs a middleman to perform these formalities, then it is called indirect exporting and importing. Export procedure, when we go students, the main steps involved in export procedures are as follows. Very first, receipt of inquiry and sending quotations. The prospective buyers of a product send an inquiry to different exporters. Means it is the duty of the particular importer first. Though it is a export procedure, but the first step start from the importer only, because importer will make an inquiry to the exporter regarding the availability of goods with the exporter. So he made an inquiry to different exporters regarding price, qualities, terms and conditions, etc. Sometimes inquiry is conducted by giving advertisement also. The exporter sends a reply to this inquiry in the form of a quotation termed as pro forma invoice. Pro forma invoice contains detailed information regarding price, quality, size, weight, shape, etc. of products which the exporter can supply. Receipt of order or intent. In case the prospective buyer is satisfied with the information given in the pro forma invoice, then he places an order for the goods to be dispatched. This order is known as indent. It contains the description regarding the goods ordered, their price, delivery, terms and conditions, packaging and marking instructions, etc. Next is assessing importers' creditworthiness and securing guarantee for payment. After receiving the order and before manufacturing the goods, the exporter inquired about the creditworthiness of the importer to get payment security. To minimize the risk of default payment, most of the exporters prefer to demand a letter of credit. What do you mean by letter of credit now? Letter of credit is a guarantee by the importer student that he will be paying the the payment of the bill whenever the delivery of the goods will be done in their country. And it is passed through the banker, importer's banker to the exporter's banker, so that more the guarantee will be valid. So because of that, importer's banker will make a letter of credit and pass it to the exporter's banker, so that it is a guarantee or that the importer will pay the amount, the bill, whatever the bill will be there after the delivery of the goods. Letter of credit is a surety that the importer will make payment to bank and bank will make payment to exporter on behalf of the importer. Obtaining export license. According to the customs law, a firm must acquire an export license before exporting goods. The prerequisites of export licenses are as follows. Very first, obtaining IEC number, import export code. Before starting the export procedure, the exporter has to get an IEC number. This number is used in filling the formalities of export procedure. To get this number, the exporter has to apply to the regional import-export licensing authority in the prescribed form. Along with the application, the exporter must submit the following documents. Very first, details about the personal record of the exporter, bank receipt for payment of fees to apply for IEC number, certificate from the bankers, declaration by the exporters that they will not be exporting the goods listed in caution list. Caution list is that list which contains the goods on which there is restriction on export. If the regional import-export licensing authority is satisfied with the formalities, then they will issue an IC number to the exporter. Obtaining RCMC. It is very important. After the import-export license is achieved by the exporter, he can apply for the RCMC. What is RCMC? Registration cum membership certificate. Exporters get various benefits in the form of subsidies and exemption in excise duty. Student, it is very important to get exemption because the tax is the main problem in export and import business. Every exporter wants some type of relaxation from the government and also from the exemption from the taxation authority. So if they are having the RCMC membership, they can get reduction in the excise duty, that is the tax, and the get some subsidies from the government. To get this benefit, they have to show RCMC. After getting the IC number, the exporter applies for RCMC. The RCMC is issued by Export Promotion Council, Federation of Indian Export Organizations, Export Development Authority, etc. To get the RCMC, the exporter submits a bank certificate and IEC number along with the application to any of the above mentioned authorities. If authorities are satisfied, then they will issue the RCMC. Registration with ECGC, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. It is necessary in order to protect overseas payment from political and commercial risk. This registration also helps the exporter to get financial assistance from commercial banks and other financial institutions. Obtaining pre-shipment finance. Pre-shipment finance is a finance which the exporter needs to procure raw materials, other components, processing and packaging of goods and transportation of goods to the port for shipment. After receiving a letter of credit, the exporter approaches his banker to obtain pre-shipment finance. Production and procurement of goods. After sending the confirmation to the importer, the exporter starts manufacturing the product according to the specification. If the exporter is not a manufacturer, then he starts procuring the goods from different manufacturers as per the specification of the export order. So production and procurement of goods, it is two steps, students. Either the exporter can produce the goods in their own factory or in their own country, or one more method is there, like car companies, what they all the parts of the car they are not producing themselves. Some of the parts they are hiring from other companies. So that way it is procurement of goods. So exporter can do both the either of the things before the delivery of the goods. Pre-shipment inspection. Generally, every exporter wants to have the quality of the product, and every country wants the quality product to be exported to the outer side country so that its image can be formed. Strong image can be there. Public image will not be spoiled. So because of that, pre-shipment inspection is a step in the export procedure. In this step, the exporter hires the particular persons. Inspection they will just ask the inspection authority to come and investigate about the product quality. So quality plays a very important role in external trade. Exporters have to follow international quality standards. The goods are produced strictly according to the quality specification of buyers. In India, it is compulsory to get a pre-shipment quality inspection according to Quality Control and Inspection Act. The government has prescribed certain quality standards keeping in mind the safety and health of the people. Export inspection councils are set up to check whether the exporters are following those quality standards or not. If the council is satisfied, then they issue an inspection certificate. Without inspection certificate, export is not permitted. There are three methods of pre-shipment inspection. Let us see what are the three ways. Very first, consignment was inspection. In here you can write, as per the order the exporters are getting, they will be making order wise the inspection of the goods. That's why it is known as consignment wise inspection. In this method, the exporter calls the inspector from his export council after goods are ready for dispatch. The inspector checks each consignment of finished goods, and if he is satisfied, then he issues a certificate of inspection. In process quality control. In process means when the goods are in processing steps, then only the exporter calls the inspector to make a check of the quality of the product. Under this method, the inspector inspects the quality during the production process. While goods are in process of manufacturing, then only the inspector comes and inspects the quality. In this method, the inspector can check the quality of raw material used, technology or type of machinery used, etc. If the inspector is satisfied, then an inspection certificate is issued by him. Self-certification student. Reputed firms and large-scale exporters themselves see to it that international quality standards are maintained to improve and earn goodwill in the international market. They try to obtain international quality standards marks such as ISO 9000, ISO 2000, etc. These firms acquire mechanism of quality assurance and testing facility. After self-inspection, they may also approach in the inspection council to inspect the quality standards and issue a certificate. Excise clearance. What do you mean by excise clearance? The exported goods are generally exempted from the excise duty, and if duty already paid, then it is refunded back to the exporter. To get exemption, the exporter applied to the excise commissioner along with a copy of RCMC, invoice, etc. If the exporter has already paid excise duty, then it will be refunded. So that is the good about the excise clearance process of the export. Then he apply for refund, he has to apply to the Assistant Commissioner of Excise. The Assistant Commissioner verifies the refund application, and if he is satisfied, the duty amount is refunded back to the exporter. Obtaining certificate of origin. Some importing countries provide tariff concession to goods coming from particular country. To avail of such benefit, the exporter may ask the importer may ask the exporter send a certificate of origin. Certificate of origin, now what it is? Certificate of origin is a statement, students, which will tell that the exporter had generated or produced the goods in their own country. Those exporters who are producing the goods in their own country, they are getting the certificate of origin. That makes the goodwill of the company also more good. So the certificate is a proof that goods are actually produced by the manufacturer in the country from where these are exported. This certificate can obtain from the trade consulate located in the exporter's country. Reservation of shipping space. The exporting firms apply to a shipping company for booking a shipping space. Accepting this application, the shipping company issues a shipping order. A shipping order is an instruction to the captain of the ship to receive the specified goods on bulk after custom clearance. Packing and forwarding. Definitely, after all the things done, the most important, as it is to be sent from one country to another, packaging plays a very important role, because if packaging is not good, then it can be a big problem from the company that it can be returned back. So the goods are then properly packed and marked with necessary details as name and address of the importer, gross and net weight, port of shipment, etc. On loading goods into the railway wagon, the railway authority issues railway receipt, which serve as a title of goods. The exporter endorses the receipts in favor of the agent to enable him to take the delivery of the goods. Insurance of goods, students. The exporter then get the goods insured with an insurance company to process against the risk of loss or damage of goods due to sea perils. Sea perils, it can be the persons or the pirates of the ship who can steal the whole ship, or from the rotten animals are there which can damage the goods. For all those, insurance is needed. Custom clearance. To obtain the custom clearance, the exporter prepares the shipping bill. A shipping bill contains the details about the goods, such as the port where the goods are to be discharged, the country of final destination, exporter's name and address, etc. 5 copies of the shipping bill along with the following documents are to be provided. One is export contract or export order. Second is letter of credit. Third, commercial invoice. Fourth, certificate of origin. Fifth, certificate of inspection. And the fifth is the marine insurance policy. So these are the documents which are needed with this shipping bill. After submission of these documents, the port superintendent is approached to obtain carting order. Carting order, what it is? It is an instruction to the staff at the gate of the port to permit the entry of the cargo inside the dock. After obtaining the carting order, the cargo physically moves into the port area. If the exporter is not having time, he can hire a clearing and forwarding agent. Obtaining mates receipt. After receiving custom clearance, the goods are then loaded on ship, for which the captain of the ship issues a mates receipt. It contains the details regarding name of the vessel, berth, date of shipment, description of package, etc. The port superintendent on receipt of port dues hand over the mates receipt to the C&F agent. Payment of freight and insurance of bills of lading. After loading the goods on ship, the exporter goes to the office to the shipment company. There he surrenders the mate's receipt, and in return the shipping company office issues him a bill of lading, which is prepared in triplicate, one copy for the exporter, one copy for the captain of the ship, and one copy is for the importer. Preparation of invoice, student. After sending the goods, an invoice of dispatch goods is prepared. The invoice states the quantity of goods sent and the amount to be paid by the importer. The C&F agent gets it duly attested by the custom. Securing payment, the last step in export. After the shipment of goods, the exporter informs the importer, and then the exporter must send some important documents to the importer to claim the title of the goods. The common documents are certified copy of invoice, bill of lading, packaging list, insurance policy, certificate of origin, letter of credit. The exporter sends this document through his/her banker with the instruction that these documents must be delivered to the importer only when he accepts a bill of exchange. The importer may accept a bill of exchange of two types: document against side, document against acceptance. Document against side, when we see, in this case the documents are handed over only against payment. Documents against acceptance is that in this case the documents are handed over when the importer accepts the bill of exchange and agrees to make payment in a specific period of time. In case of side, the importer releases the payment immediately and the exporter's bank receives the payment through the importer's bank, and it is credited to the exporter's account. So this was the export procedure, student. I hope you have understood. Next class I will make a recall of all the points. With that I will be going with the import procedure. Thank you for today's class. Have a nice day.